I have heard you talk about your experience with Pat Riley and how quickly he kicked you out. Uncle Jerome went to the U-Haul store and you were moving. He came out after the end of last season and said, we are not extending Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is making $50 million this year, has a player option next year for another 50. So it comes out to about $100 million over the next 2 years. But Jimmy right now is saying, I don't have the joy to play. I have been around a lot of normal working class folks the last week that have brought this up to me. And what it seems to me is it's not resonating well with people that they're going, you're 35, you're making $100 million over the next 2 years to play a game, and you're trying to tell us that you don't have joy. I've also had a lot of people say to me, man, I'm noticing a trend that everywhere Jimmy Butler goes, it doesn't end well. Minnesota, Chicago, Philadelphia, it doesn't really end great. What advice would you give Jimmy right now? Because it does seem like a weird situation.
I have a question. Do you get paid for what you've done or what you're going to do? Just think about that right now. Think about that right now.
And I would say Pat Riley has always paid for what you're going to do, where there are other franchises that may pay for what you've done.
So Pat Riley runs the ship his way. And when you're in charge, that's the only way it should be. I said the other day, Kenny asked, would you pay, I think Charles asked, would you pay a guy 35, 55, 60? Out of respect for what he has done, I would have the conversation with him. Pat Riley showed me that respect. When I was there, I won a championship. I was due some money, and he called me in the office and he said, listen, big fella, if I gave you 25, you're not going to have no help. Whatever you want to do. It's not a conversation. You deserve what you earned. If I give you that 25 for 4, you have no help. However, I can give you 20 for 5, and I can bring in James Posey. I can bring in White Chocolate. I can bring in your arch rival, Alonzo Mourning. I can bring in your friend GP. And we had that conversation. And I wanted to be remembered as a guy that could win. So I said, you know what? I appreciate the respect. I'll take the less money. So I don't know if they had that conversation. I don't like to get into people's business and give them money. But, you know, one thing about Mr. Riley is he's definitely going to run it his way. And as a player, you have the right to feel what you feel. Adam, this is how players think, right? Let's just say there was a podcast money network, right? And me and you are making a certain amount. And we see some kids out there that we're better than, and we know we're better than, we get higher ratings, higher numbers, but they're making a whole lot more money. How do you think that's going to make us feel? It's definitely going to make us feel some type of way. So when we go back to the big cockhead now, we're going to be like, listen, my man, these little Twitch kids or these little streamer kids, they making boom, 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 boom. Me and Adam number are higher. This is what we want. That's how the game works. Like, all players do it. All agents do it. So Jimmy's saying, okay, I know I'm 35 and all that, but this guy's, he's making this and he's making that, so this is what I want. That's the name of the game. And, you know, the narrative is always going to be pushed a certain way, but I know that Jimmy's a strong guy and Pat's a strong guy, but when you're in charge, when you're the judge, the jury, and the executioner, you get the final say-so. So in my situation, Pat had the final say-so. He said, it's time to trade the big fella, and I was traded. But, hey, man, this is what we call the business of basketball. Business of basketball.
Jealousy is the only poison that affects the container.
Exactly.
And I one time was in a conversation with a very wealthy person, and he kept telling me, he's like, don't you want more? And I don't know what happened to me. It was like during the pandemic, I just tried to learn the power of the word enough, because I think it's great to be motivated to try and get everything. But I think sometimes you don't appreciate what you have when you're obsessed with having more. And I think that balance, you need to keep going, but at the same time.
But I don't think it's more. I think it's more about mine. Like when you talk about jealousy, mine. If I got mine, why don't I want yours? See what I'm saying? So, I mean,
can I ask you a rich person question that I don't think people can understand?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I looked up Jimmy's career earnings. Now, what fans need to understand, a lot of this money has been spent. A lot of this money has been taxed.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of this has gone to agents. So like whatever the number is, probably cut it to like 40%, right?
Let's just go 50 to be fair.
I'm saying 50 plus an agent plus whatever you've paid.
Right.
So career earnings is over 300 million, 312. Nice. So now we're at 150. Then let's say he's spent 30, 40, whatever. Like, so let's say he's at 110, right? When you're looking at a contract then that's offering you 50 and you're like, I want 60.
Because I'm looking at everybody else.
So you saying it's not about like the $10 million, because I don't think the $10 million is really going to have that much of an impact on you.
It's not.
But it's more of an ego thing.
Ego and negotiations. You're going to start high. If I come back and say, just give me 50, then they'll be like, oh, well, what about 45? I want 60. And then you have a respectful conversation. Like, hey, man, I would love to give you 50, but, you know, but I don't know if that conversation was had with me. And even though I was traded, I can credit Mr. Riley for having that conversation with me, because he also said, big man, I gave you whatever you want. You came to the city. You said you was going to give us a championship. I told you I was going to give you some new money. Here we are. However, and I had to make a decision. I don't know if they're having that conversation, but you never want to take less money. You want to take more money. It's the art of negotiation. Like, for example, when I was in Orlando, I won 150. I know I wasn't getting 150, but I won 150. So now you talk me down from what you think you can go, and then finally LA got it to 120, which was 60 in LA. You know, you're talking about 40%. Then in LA, it's 50%. Just, you know, cut that in half.
Yeah, I'm the one that lives in New York. I understand that.
Where would you like to see him go? I would like to see him go to Golden State.
That would definitely be exciting. There's part of me that wants to see him in San Antonio with Wemby and Pop. He's a very unique style of player. Like, him on the Thunder wouldn't make sense. No. Cleveland wouldn't make sense. I'm trying to think of the competitive teams right now. Like the teams that are clicking right now, he needs to go to someone that needs a piece.
I like him at Golden State because when he was at Miami, he used to drive me crazy, get all the way to the lane and kick it out for a three. I'm like, bro, lay the goddamn ball up. So that'll work in Golden State.
Look, Sixers fans are upset that he left and we kept Tobias over him. So that's one too. I want to ask a question because you would know. Derrick Rose, Ja Morant, who would you say was more explosive when they were both at full like health and jumping?
Okay, I'm gonna answer this. And I heard somebody say this one time, so I'm gonna answer first. Derrick Rose, because I've seen it live in person. Ja Morant is a hell of a player. No disrespect to him. Haven't seen it live. But for me, because of personal experience, I'm gonna have to go with Derrick. I haven't never played against Ja Morant. But he looks very explosive. I can tell he's explosive. But
what was it like with Derrick Rose?
Like when he coming out that pick and roll, you might as well just get out the way. Because if you try to show he's gonna go around you, he was quick. Man, there's a lot of quick guys. But Ja is very explosive. And these are the questions that I hate because if you don't answer them the right way, I'm hating. But so I'm trying to break it down as educationally as possible. I know from experience what Derrick Rose can do. I haven't played against Ja. So
I thought Westbrook was incredibly explosive as well.
And I played against Westbrook. So if I'm doing field studies and field tests, I've been in the field with those two gentlemen. I haven't been in the field with Mr. Morant, so I can't give you an analysis of what the calculation of his speed reciprocability is.